wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best. Especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform before, during, and after Desert Storm always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors, protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, KUAW Wilson. Now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Good afternoon and welcome once again to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org. My name is Carl Boyd and I am accustomed to being the host of Wave Your Grades. Today, I'm the co-host of Wave Your Grades on KUAW. And this is interesting because first Saturdays are programs for our youth, generally introduced to us by Valencia Broadus, but it just happens to KUAW Wilson that today there is a young person who could actually tell us just about how long we've known each other. Can you imagine that this a young person is that young and co-hosting with Wave Your Grades? Heaven Hart, tell us about Heaven.
Yes, that's profound. Tell you about myself. So, I'm just blessed to be here, and I try to enjoy every moment, not take it for granted. I really value family and togetherness and just being there for one another, listening to each other, so that we gain a deeper understanding. Um, I met Miss V when I was in middle school about 10 plus years ago, and we have been inseparable ever since.
That's exactly right. Wow.
um, and I've just been, she's been a great mentor. I mean, being able to see someone who looks like me um, doing so much for the youth, for the community, all while having her own business is like Wonder Woman status.
Absolutely.
And so I strive to kind of live up to those same expectations or values. Um, and that's why I'm here today.
Well, it was indeed because of her that we met, and Wave Your Grades was the vehicle. Now, this is 2025. You graduated from Lincoln, is that correct?
Yes.
In what year?
2018.
My God, that time is really flying. So,
You're telling me.
in a way that we might be able to receive and comprehend, because that time has been fleeting and your achievements have been daunting. Tell us a little bit about Heaven since 2018.
Yeah, I've just been, I started my own business.
Okay, and tell us about that. If that's okay now,
Yeah.
unless you intended to do something later, or is it all right to mention it now?
We can mention it now.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated in 2018. Miss V was actually the instrument in helping me choose what to study in college, and actually helped me to choose
Wow.
what college I wanted to go to, because I didn't know whether I wanted to go to a small campus, a big campus. But it was through her doing those college tours I was
Yes,
actually
that's
able
right.
to experience those, campus settings. And immediately I think the first one we went to was Mizzou, which was great, but it's also huge. And I was like, well, I know I'm not going to have a car in my first year, so getting to classes when everything is so spread out, and then imagining the class sizes and just taking my experience from school, I knew I learned better in a more inclusive, smaller environment. So I wanted a smaller class size and a smaller campus size, because during the summertime that's great, but during the wintertime that's going to be a long walk.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And since then, yeah, I studied marketing, and that was really because I just helped Miss V with promoting events, doing flyers, tickets, logos, color schemes, websites. And she was like, you know what? If she had me Google it and research it, of course,
Sure.
and was like, I think that this would be something that's right up your alley. And when I Googled it and got more information, and I seen how much money marketers make, I was like, this is something I want to, explore more. So after attending college, I did start my own business. I went to Drury University in Springfield, and it's been amazing. I have been learning, and I continue to learn. I have had the opportunity of working for a magazine here in Kansas City, and I've been able to do a website for our Smart Career Club, which is well overdue. And in doing that, some other opportunities have opened up as well. So just being blessed to have met Miss V,
Yes.
and the person that she is continuously helps me push myself to be out of my shell, because I can be very shy, but it's not just what you know, it's also who you know. And being around Miss V definitely showed me that. So I just thank her.
Well, now the interesting thing is, as far as your personality is concerned, you don't at all appear to be shy. You have been on forums that I have witnessed, and very forthcoming, very enlightening. And one of the things that I believe to be so, from what I have seen in you, you probably would not have chosen a profession, not just for, quote, the money, unquote, but that you did not embrace, that you did not enjoy. How do you like what you're doing?
I like it a lot because I really like to help people, and specifically for me, um, I wanted to help our our people, black
Yes.
people, and research shows that we have less resources available to us, compared to other businesses, and so I wanting to give back to the community and to my people. Um, and that's why I kind of have my price structure the way I do. It's commission based off the sales you make. It's nothing up front. It's a free consultation, but just wanting to, because I feel like with me and a lot of opportunities, I was just like, if someone just gives me a chance, if someone just gives me the
Yes.
chance and the opportunity, I will make the most of it. I will not take it for granted. And so wanting to give others that same chance and opportunity, it's really a wonderful experience.
Well, now, Heaven Hart is with us this afternoon, and Hart is the Hart family. You had some ideas and things that we would talk about this afternoon. So before we get to those, just let me say thank you to the Hart family. And when I say that, about whom do I speak?
Um, my mom, um, my dad, and my twin siblings,
Thank
Jasmine
you
and
very
Jalen.
much. Very much a part of Wave Your Grades.
Mhm.
So that we appreciate Attorney Valencia brought us Miss B
Yes.
ourselves in a way that is immeasurable. And now, my having done that by way of introduction, today, December 6, 2025, there are some things going on, or perhaps some things that you had on your mind. Tell us about it.
So, through Miss V, we were able to do a youth violence symposium.
Wow.
And this event was really to get in the community and hear from the youth themselves, about the violence in their lives that they see every day. And how do they feel? What solutions do they think would be beneficial for them? It was very insightful, very eye-opening. It was just a blessing to be in the room. There were so many young people there and participating, being open and honest and transparent about their life experiences, whether it be at school, at their jobs, and being, they feel like they were being discriminated against, all these things, that was able to bridge the age gaps, because there were people from young age to older age, and
Yes, absolutely.
they were there to really listen and support and give advice and wisdom. And they kind of built on top of the solutions that the youth presented. So it was so great that a lot of the people, when we asked them at the end of the event to fill out, a index card about their experience here at the event, and also what they would want to see in the future, a lot of them said they wanted us to do this again, that same youth violence symposium. And really, some of them even said they wanted us to do it, if not weekly, monthly.
Now, I would suspect that there was a need for a symposium not only that focused on but included the participation of youth. Why was that so important? Have we as adults neglected some things, or we did not really understand some things? Why was that youth symposium so important?
It was important because the youth are the future. And so we will be the next ones to carry the baton.
Yes, ma'am.
And so being able to just be there, like the elders, to share their wisdom, so that we are able to learn from them while they're here. That was very important. I wouldn't say that the adults neglect the youth. I feel like maybe they don't listen as much, or with
Mhm.
open ears and an open heart and an open mind. Maybe I feel like from my personal experience, they just feel like we can tend to be ignorant because we don't know a lot. There's a lot that we don't know, and so dismissing either how we feel or what we think or say as to us, it's perceived as it's not important, and then it makes us more hesitant to speak up the next time. So that was so important to have an environment, a safe space that allowed the youth to be vulnerable and transparent about their feelings and their experiences, and having the adults just be there to listen.
Yes. Let me tell you something that will not surprise you as it relates to the time span, but the phenomenon itself might surprise you a bit when I say to you that when I was in high school, 4 years in high school, 4 years, we heard one rumor about one of our classmates contemplating suicide.
Mm,
In 4 years, one rumor, and he did not go through with it.
mm.
In today's world, what would you say to that if someone said, have you encountered, do you know anything about young people contemplating suicide? How would that go in 2025?
Um, if someone were to come to me, first thing that came to my mind when you said there was a rumor going around for 4 years, my mind went to, okay, well, what was people's first reaction? Like your classmates, was their first reaction to just talk about it amongst their friends, or did anyone go and like check on this person and see how they're doing, and just giving them resources?
Yes.
So if someone was to come to me and be like, yes, so and so is doing this, I do not take that lightly.
Good.
I would probably, that is such a tricky situation. I don't know if I would approach the person first, or if I would just, I probably would, because with rumors, you just never know how accurate it is. Because like you said, he didn't actually go through with it. But that doesn't mean he didn't have thoughts. They said
Exactly.
contemplating. So,
Exactly.
I've had a personal experience where I was living with someone who actually did self-harm
Yes.
using a gun. And
Ooh.
I had to, of course, call 911. And so I think that when you notice these signs, and that's different from a rumor, someone telling you, but when you notice someone experiencing these things or having signs, and that's really good to educate yourself, because it is a serious thing. So the more education you have, the more the increased likelihood of you being able to save someone's life.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have to call the authorities, or call someone to kind of save that person from themselves, and that is okay. They may be mad at you in the moment, but at least they're alive.
Exactly. That makes a
You know.
huge difference. And when I think about something that actually has the name Youth Forum, are there things that you have seen? I'm much older, but even older generations than yourself, that we miss or have missed, to the point where that forum is not only helpful to the young people, but particularly helpful to those of us who are older.
Mm.
What do we typically miss?
I personally haven't seen any forums or been on any forums, but I feel like things just get overlooked. Like when people are feeling down, because a lot of people have these preconceived notions that teens are just they're going through so many changes, whether it's
Mhm.
school, their social life, hormonal things going on, trying to find their place in the world, so that they kind of, when they just kind of, and then not only that, but you kind of got to give adults grace, because they have lives of their own too. I mean, between paying bills and going to work and all these things, managing so much, it can be draining and exhausting. So I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes. I don't want to just point blame, but I think because they just expect for them to be just, oh, they're just being moody or they're having one of those days, it kind of gets dismissed, rather than, something valued as more important, like if they're not feeling okay, we need to make sure we're checking in with them on a regular basis, kind of thing. So as far as things being missed, as far as adults go, just being more present, with the youth that you are around, not necessarily just your kids, but any youth that you have the pleasure of being around, just checking up on them, checking in with them, and spending time with them as well.
By the way, if you have another guest, we can bring them in at any time.
Okay.
If you have someone. But in the meantime, I really appreciate how you elaborated on one simple term, which is present.
Mm-hmm.
When you said be present with them, you didn't mean just to be around them at particular times, but what does it mean to be present with them?
Mm-hmm.
This is very important. What kind of presence? And you were spelling that out.
I'm gonna pull that someone in. Is Mr. Oh, okay. So what kind of presence was I talking about? Meaningful, impactful, intentional.
Thank you. Thank you.
Actually wanting to be there for them, emotionally, physically, because if your heart is not in it, we can sense that,
Yes.
So actually wanting to be there and to learn from them and to do things that they're interested in doing for the sake of just having, a relationship with them or connecting with them, because time is limited. And so that's why I said making the most of it, not taking any moment for granted, and making every moment valuable, as valuable as possible. That's how I feel like you get the most out of life.
And one of the things that was important in terms of what your experiences have been in my generation, when we talk about cultures, when we talk about communities, we would use the expression the urban community, for instance, versus other communities.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying that one of the things that's important in a forum is that it includes us, and you mentioned, quote, our community.
Mm-hmm.
But what kinds of attention and what kinds of communities do we see and do we need to understand? Well, I was allowed in 1999. My wife and I had been here in Kansas City for all of our married life, and we moved to Arizona for just a while, for 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the position that I took with the National School Conference Institute was the chairman of urban education. And when I think about urban education, that speaks to a particular population. And when you speak to the youth or the youth of our community, how would you define target audience?
People that look like you. I mean, they're
Come
going to
on.
understand what you experience day to day. They're going to understand the struggles that you face,
Wow.
the hardships that you go through. They have to look like you.
Yes.
There's no way around that. I feel like in my personal experience where that person did self-harm, their parent actually told them, oh, you just did that for attention. And even if that was your thought, I don't know if that was the right way to go about
Thank you. Wow.
that. I feel like, and that may be true,
Mhm.
but instead of just throwing that in their face as kind of a negative connotation, actually giving them that attention, being there, being present, and getting a deeper understanding of what was really going on, there. Yeah.
One of the things that you will hear often in today's world, in as much as I've been in education since 1964, education has been my field, is that urban education is somehow, quote, less than,
Mm.
unquote.
Mm.
That we are concerned about those young people in schools that are not the most, I would suggest, in areas that have a higher income than where I grew up, than where some people live. And yet, when we were growing up, we felt like we had some excellent teachers in the black communities where we grew up. What are some things that are of concern in education where that urban community is concerned?
What are some things that are like? What are some concerns of like urban education?
Education.
Um, well, it goes back to like business as well. When I was saying like studies show that black-owned businesses tend to get less funding or less
Okay.
resources. Same thing with the schools, and really, I feel like they probably think because, and I do see that reason when they do get the little things that they do get, they don't really treat the things with the best care, you know, and that
Wow.
makes them less reluctant to want to give funds if they feel like they're gonna be destructive or they're not gonna. And I really think that one thing I don't like about schools is that everybody learns differently.
Okay, thank you.
So
Ooh.
while to you they may seem like they're lashing out or they're being a distraction or all these things, it's really because somewhere in some shape or form their needs are not being met. What they are needing in order to learn how the others are learning, the information that they're picking up on, is probably different. They need, a different environment where they're not just forced to be in a class setting, sitting down, listening to someone talk the whole time. Sometimes people need to be hands-on with what they're learning. Sometimes people need to be able to use their imagination and their creative freedom. However way helps them to best learn, you have to be willing to meet them where they're at instead of being quick to just judge them based off their actions and choosing to write them off. Because to me, that's you were never really wanting to be there anyway. You never valued them to begin with, because regardless of how someone is acting, none of us is perfect. So I feel like if you feel like that person is worth it, regardless of what they do, you're gonna. And that's the one thing I love about Miss V.
Yes.
She will work with a student regardless and will meet them where they're at because she sees the purpose. God creates everyone for a reason. Okay, everyone has light or positive energy, and they just need that right person to be able to see them.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes, please.
I think another issue with the schools today is the lack of investment, and I don't necessarily mean monetarily. I can say, I know when I was at least in elementary school, and this is probably something that you can relate to, Carl, despite our age difference. At that time, that was during a time when teachers actually lived in the communities and they understood the students and they understood where they were coming from, so they were able to invest in them from a community perspective. And we don't have that today. Our teachers are not necessarily from our communities, so they don't have the investment. That's not to say all of our teachers, all of our educators, but for a vast majority of them, and this is just my opinion, this is KUAW, I think they're not as invested in the youth as they were when I was a student, when you were a student, when you were a teacher. And that is a huge issue that is going on in our schools today. We need teachers who live next to the students, who come from the communities which our students live in, who understand the communities which which these students come from and understand the avenues that they need to take to kind of succeed in their communities. But I just wanted to add that little piece.
That's
Yeah.
very true. That goes back to what I said about just that when you asked me that question about, you said you experienced that student or classmate of yours that was a rumor going around that they were contemplating suicide. And I said that we can sense when you're not really there for us, You're just there to do your job. They can sense that you don't really care. So they're going to not care about what you're talking about in the class, and they're going to find something else they want to do. So I think all of that goes back to energy. Like, people can pick up on your energy.
Well, sometimes it's not so much that they don't care, but they don't understand. It's hard to care about what you don't understand. So when they come from where you come from, they understand more, they can relate more, and then they have more of an impression, and they are able to kind of take you by the hand and guide you through. Whereas if you don't understand, if you don't come from here, you don't understand what goes on here, so you can't even relate to even come across as if you care.
We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I want to start with the impression that you gave me in the remarks that you made, and I want to turn it over to KUAW Wilson.
And for our students, our 7th through 12th grade students, we want to remind you that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization, Stutes for Boots. And yes, we do say organization on purpose, with purpose. You'll write an essay titled Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your contents will identify a veteran at your school who can be absolutely anyone. Teacher, custodian, coach, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Wave Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. Please send entry or inquiry to academicpatriotism@gmail.com. That is academicpatriotism@gmail.com. Now back to our host, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much to KUAW, and thank you to KUAW and Heaven, because you make me mindful of, I started teaching Heaven in 1964, and one of the things that was important to us was understanding students. But back in that day, there was not an emphasis on something called multiple intelligences. And the way you've heard me mention this before, but it was, quote, kind of late coming. Before I talk about that, let me ask you, was or is education your minor, or these are just insights that you have?
Insights, for sure.
Yeah, this is interesting because many teachers, well, teachers, period, need to understand what you're saying. Here's an example. 1960s, when I started teaching, if you had a student who moved around a lot, that was a bad student. Usually we would attribute it to a male. That's a bad boy. Now, it wasn't until the 1970s when we started talking about multiple intelligence. This child is kinesthetic. You had the girl who was in the 6th row looking at the board because we did stuff from the board. She's not doing so well, and nobody took the time to find out that she needed glasses. There is someone who is inching up, looking around the room. Boy, what's wrong with you? Pay attention. And he couldn't hear. This was an auditory child. You have a child who's moving around. Oh, that's terrible. You're misbehaving. And it turns out the child is kinesthetic. You have someone who needs to feel. That's a tactile child. But we didn't take that time. And I'm listening to you, majoring in marketing, talking like an elementary school teacher, and teachers need to hear that.
Mm.
So I can appreciate it from both DeQuay Wilson and Heaven Hart, from a teacher from 1964, and this is 2025, and I have the audacity to learn from you who did not major in education
Well,
at this point. Something else that you were going to present, or is our guest available? Not yet.
So we are doing and planning for the second Youth Violence Symposium. It will be in 2026, next year, which will be here very quickly during spring break time. And I wanted to discuss the need to volunteer in the community and the benefits of doing so, mainly because what Mr. Quay just said about, you know, teachers, the big difference that makes with them either, you know, being in the community in some shape or fashion, and how that affects their ability to teach and reach their students. It is so important to be involved in the community. And I feel like even as teachers, I would say personally, like, you can tell when a teacher is just doing it for a paycheck versus
Wow.
someone who actually cares and takes their job outside of the classroom. Because even if you don't understand where they're coming from, there are things I feel like personally, I could be wrong, that you can do to gain deeper understanding.
Without a doubt.
It all comes down to the person and what they want to do, how committed are they to their students succeeding. And so that is a good point she made, but I would say I would hope teachers aren't using that as an excuse.
That goes back to investing in their students. If you take the time to get to understand, even if, I know I said earlier, if you're not from there, you can't understand. But again, you take the time to try to understand, to learn. That, again, is part of that investment.
As a matter of fact, Heaven Hart, I'm going to say something to DeQuay that is going to surprise her on today, December 6, 2025. DeQuay, I have a story. I know that shocks you. In September 1964, in Chicago, Illinois, I lived at 67th Street, 67th and Merrill. The school where I taught was on 32nd Street, 32nd and Calumet. In September of 1965, I moved to 32nd Street and King Drive, one block east of where I taught school. I could walk to school. I visited my students at home after school. And here, it was interesting because after a while, after I was visiting for a while, a young man who was in, quote, an organization, unquote, "Hey man, what you doing around here?" "Excuse me?" "I'm talking to you, man. What you doing around here?" I said, "Oh, my name is Mr. Boyd. I'm visiting students. They might be your little brother or your little sister. What are you doing around here?" Say, "What? You asking me what I'm doing?" This is a true story. And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, look here. I don't have to do nothing. The women do it for me." I said, "Oh, wow, you remind me of something I was reading." And he said, "Reading?" I said, "Yeah, I was reading about a gentleman who used to call himself a pimp. He said, yeah. And I said, I'm serious. I was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I'd like to hear your story. Maybe it'll be similar. Oh, forget it, man. That's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now, in the high rise, they would disable elevators because some would turn out the lights and take advantage of visitors. And I was on the 14th floor. This is a true story. I was on the 14th floor. The elevator was off, and the lights in the hall were out. Okay, so I've got to walk down in the dark. These were iron doors. So I kicked it as loud as I could, and when I kicked it, it banged up against the wall, making enough noise for me to go down the stairs. And here was this fellow who was holding a young man up against the wall by his collar. And when I went down, I shouted, "What's going on?" All I wanted was enough time to get by. And when I said it, the young man said, oh, you Mr. Boyd. I said, what are you doing? He said, no, man, this is my little cousin. We just talking. Tell him, man. And the little boy said, just kind of nodded. He had tears in his eyes. And I said, I'm checking you. I walked past him. He said, Mr. Boyd, wait up. I said, what? He said, oh, man, come on, wait up a minute. We walked down the stairs together. He said, man, you remember that part where he called himself Detroit Red? I said, what? And he said, Malcolm was a bad dude, man. He changed, didn't he? But all I'm saying is, Heaven Heart is brilliant. Because sometimes all it takes is an investment of a conversation. And he and I were friends from then on. Forgive me, I took too much time with that story. But again, you're going to do a subsequent conference. Does it build on the first one, or this is just a new audience?
It is going to build on the first one.
Oh, it is.
It
okay.
is. It's going to be talking about communities that actually provide those resources, and basically they just do youth outreach and kind of, because some of the solutions that were when we had people after the event write on the index card, they were saying like having programs that outside of school that just give youth support, and so we're going to talk about how the communities that are there already on the ground, boots on the ground,
Yes.
being there for the youth, and how we can support to continue their mission to support the youth.
That is so important. Thank you. Go ahead, but thank you so much for that.
So we are going to be working with Mount Sinai Church, Hope Family Care Center, Trina's Kitchen, and the Blueford Library to host intergenerational career kitchens starting this winter break.
Now, go ahead. This is
The
good.
goal is we would also love to include the Dunbar youth in our project, but the goal is for kids to learn nutrition and cooking basics from seniors in their community. The teams will serve a community meal once per month at Mount Sinai Church and at the Blueford Library.
Now, by the way, KUAW, please continue, because you add so much to the discussion. This is very important. But let me tell you something I appreciate so much about what you are saying. We were talking about a forum, youth violence, you are talking about nutrition, cooking, all of these kinds of things. And part of your response dealt with the cards that you passed out and what people were interested in. Two things. One, what they say is important, but equally or more important is that you actually respond and respect those who participated enough to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to you.
Yes.
So, what do we anticipate in terms of, oh, by the way, date, time, and contact information?
For the youth symposium or for the volunteering at Mount Sinai?
Yes. Both.
Okay. Well, I would have to get with Miss V on that.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
She just told me it would be during spring break, and she asked me if I had any questions. But I'm gonna get with her on that and give you that information. But
Okay.
she did say that the youth symposium will be during
Yeah.
spring break 2026, and I would assume that she said the teams will serve a community meal once per month at Mount Sinai Church and at the Blueford Library. If you were to Google
Mhm.
Mount Sinai Church or the Blueford Library, that would give you the address, the contact information. I would say email Miss Valencia at valenciabroadus1@gmail.com. That's V as in base, ALENCIA BROADUS1@gmail.com.
One of the things that is very important to us, and you've heard it for a while in your young life, we ask questions like, quote, where do you see yourself in blank years, unquote. So let's suppose that number were 7 to 10 years from now, and not just as it relates to your marketing, but as a person matriculating these times in which we are living. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I love that question. I would just continue being a student of life as I am now.
Wow.
And it's crazy because I was having Bible study this morning before I got here, but she was basically telling me that you have to have a mind of a child when it comes to seeking knowledge and wisdom in a relationship with God.
Yes.
So just constantly learning and being willing to surrender to God's will and allowing Him to guide you through life. That's the best thing you can do, because as she also said, once you seek the kingdom of God first, the rest will
Yes.
will fall into place. So I think that is the main concern, just continuing to learn and gain deeper understanding and grow closer to my Creator.
Matthew 6:33. It is so good that when you suggest what's coming, that there is a Christian foundation upon which to build, because then you realize that it is for life. And when I think about, and KUAW Synergy Services, having worked with youngsters between the ages of 12 and 20, I'm 83, my sessions were titled Teach Me You.
Wow.
And as you say, you never stop learning. And the humility is extremely important, because you're not learning this in a patronizing way. But KUAW, we know each other enough to believe that we are truly honest. And your response to someone at Heaven Heart's age is a serious response. And she's talking about interactions, for instance, with parents, with youth, in marketing, and all of those ideas from which we can still learn. And I appreciate the opportunity every week. You're younger than I. But the main thing is that suggestion, that idea. Now, when I say teach me you, I want to gain some insights into a world that is different than my own. And I'm going to ask this sincerely when I say it. I was young at a time when we had a rotary dial telephone, at a time when we had 3 local TV stations and maybe cable, those kinds of things. And now, young at the speed of light. The other thing is, if we heard about somebody who carried an actual pistol, man, Junebug got a 38. Oh, you crazy, man, he ain't carrying. And now, as things have evolved, young people seem not to even be excited about the fact that somebody had a gun. They are concerned about somebody having used a gun. So when I say teach me you, help me to understand not only youth and violence, youth and marketing, but youth and 10 years from now. What are the kinds of things you can help my generation really understand and project for them and even myself at my age? Teach me you.
That was great. I really just think that being an example, that's the best way to teach someone.
Wow.
Is being the example you want to see in the world. Because there's so many things we as kids are exposed to, especially nowadays with the internet and kids having phones so young, and there's so many things. And when the mind being so impressionable at that age, that's the crucial age for learning and building a strong foundation for the rest of your life that you'll carry with you. And just from the beginning, having the very people who brought you into this life, because these are the first people you see and get to experience. Wow. So them being the example, I mean, as far as regulating your emotions, we have to see that in a healthy way, communicating in a way that's not toxic or tearing each other down. Simple things like not using profane language or the music you choose to listen to when you know kids are around. It's like people don't even care. But all of these things have an influence and an impact on the youth well into their teens and 20s, to where I'm having to learn to not do these things and do away with these things. But it's because I've seen them growing up. So I think my biggest thing for the older generation is just being the example, and sharing your experience, being able to be vulnerable with the youth. It's such an eye-opener, because I feel like even in the first episode of my podcast, A Slice of Heaven, my older cousin was talking about how she, growing up, thought her mom could do it all. Like, she thought she was a superhero. Like, real life thought she was a superhero. And it wasn't until she had kids herself that now she's saying, like, okay, my mama did not have this things figured out at all, you know. And for me, my personal experience was different because I got to see my mom at her vulnerable, you know, moments, and being able to understand that at an early age that we're all human, and it's she would tell us all the time it's okay to not be okay and to, you know, seek help when you need to, and it just gives you an eye-opening experience.
You are so good, but this will be interesting. DeQuay, I'm going to ask her a question. I think I know the answer, but you can let me know. Did you speak with either one of us before we came to the studio this afternoon?
No.
Why am I asking her that question?
Because we had this very conversation right before the show at the meeting that we just left.
Wow.
I mean, and
Wow.
we could not claim that we had it at a more mature level, that we had it at a more in-depth level. This is a young lady who is not only aware, but you feel what you're talking about. And by the way, you are an excellent example of following an example. When she came on, the first thing she did was pay tribute to Valencia Brothers, and not about her words, but about who she is as a person and the example
She said, yeah.
That is anything.
I think she said it all, really.
Yes. Now, you mentioned your own media exploits these days. Are you ready to make an announcement?
Oh yes, the podcast.
Yes.
I have, it's something that I've been wanting to do for many, many years. But see, and it's crazy because I just finished recording a couple of episodes before this show, and really addressing what I've had to do was just embracing discomfort, because it was something that was so new to me. And although I know God had put it on my heart and gave me conviction to do it, it took me so long to get to this point, because the minute you're doing something that's new, it kind of scares you, and then that's when the doubt starts to creep in, and you're like, well, nobody's going to be interested in you talking about God all the time, and you know, just all these silly things that seem silly now, but it really was debilitating and caused me to procrastinate for so many years. And that's why I said in 10 years I hope to still just be a child in God's eyes, seeking his wisdom, his
Praise
fortitude, his strength, because we cannot do anything without him.
DeQuay Wilson, any words to heaven based upon that testimony?
Keep doing what you're doing, honey.
Thank you so very much for today. Prayerfully, we'll get back together in the near future.
Yes.
Thank you, Heaven Heart. It's just about that time. Let us turn it over to DeQuay Wilson.
I want to thank our guests, our listeners, our viewers for joining us on your Stutes for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the WEB Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now our host, Carl Boyd, will close with his morning message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
Thank you so very, very much, DeQuay Wilson. Thank you, Heaven Heart. Thank you, Valencia, for producing today's program. To students across the USA, your Stutes for Boots message for this day, December 6th. Our military heroes would not risk dying if they did not believe that you were at least trying. We are Stutes for Boots. Our program is Wave Your Grades. We're thanking Heaven Heart and DeQuay Wilson. My name is Carl Boyd. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.